So, what is your name and what organization do you work with?
My name's Randy Jasper. I work with Family Farm Defenders, which is a member of Via Campesino.
And what kind of work do you do with Family Farm Defenders, and how did you get involved with them?
I got involved when milk prices were really low. But actually, a little before that, when BGH would become an issue with bovine growth hormone, injectable for cows to make them produce more milk. I kind of stayed with the industry before that. I always did what the industry said was the in thing to do, and the new stuff and the way to go, and it wasn't working. And when BGH come along, that was my line in the sand. I decided I wasn't going forward, and then I met John Kinsman and some of the members from Family Farm Defenders, and they steered me in the right direction.
Okay, and so what kind of work have you done with Family Farm Defenders since you...
Well, quite a little organizing. Through Family Farm Defenders, we formed ARMPA, American Raw Milk Producers Pricing Association. That's a group of farmers that are, basically, it's a co-op type with a goal of setting milk prices nationwide. We haven't accomplished that, obviously, but we have formed, in Wisconsin, we formed Scenic Central, which is a milk marketing co-op that has over 500 people that produce milk selling through them. We actually market the milk. We market it with no buildings, no trucks. We just, everybody that works for them works out of their home, so we have the only co-op that has no debt. So all all the money can go back to the farmers.
And so with that would be an example of food sovereignty in the U.S., right?
Yeah, I guess sort of. Yeah. What we do, we buy the milk from the farmers, and then we sell it to to different places. And most of the places we sell to are small family creameries because they have trouble. They're just small outfits, and they have trouble having the milk trucks and field men and taking care of their farmers and getting the milk. Some would just rather buy 2 tanker loads a day or whatever, and we provide that service to them, and in return our farmers get more money.
Okay. And can you talk about your experience on the Caravan and other international experience that you've had with farming and agriculture?
Yeah, we start with the Caravan. Met quite a few farmers here, heard their different issues. One of the big issues here, of course, is water quality and water pollution. That's probably the biggest one I hear. I hear that every place, whether it be a mine or whether it be in a small city or whatever. So there's other issues, of course, too, related to agriculture. They're a real concern in Mexico here about modified seeds, genetically modified seeds. We have them in the U.S. and it's not been a good experience. They cost us 2 to 3 times as much money. Production is actually off, especially in the soybean. And soybean part, we're off maybe 30%, I'm going to guess, because of the seeds. And that's a big issue here in Mexico because they have their own seed stocks. And if they bring in the U.S., we only have 6 or 7 actual corn varieties, and everything is developed off them. So it's pretty it's just a big monopoly, with Monsanto doing most of it, of course. Here they have like 80 different seed stocks that they use, on a large scale, and it works quite well because they can reuse their own seeds. Hybrid seed, hybrid seed, you can't reuse it because it won't grow the same thing. Now there is a difference between hybrid, of course, and genetically modified. Genetically modified, they put other organisms in it or other. I don't know just what you call them the genes to make them resistant to Roundup, so Roundup doesn't kill it. And some of them producing their own insecticide. I'm a little concerned with that because if they made their own insecticide, you kind of wonder where that went.
And so you'd also said that you'd been to Cuba. Can you talk a little bit about Cuban agriculture?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've actually been to Cuba twice.
Oh, twice. Okay.
Yeah, Cuba agriculture is pretty much organic, and I think it was forced into that during the special period when the Soviet Union had their financial issues. But I think it's been quite good to them. One of the things I told them when I was there that it's working good. I don't think you'd want to go back to chemical agriculture because you're already here and it's working. They put a lot of people back on the farm, but they had plenty of people to do that. So they gave people that wanted to farm land. Many of them work in small co-ops because machinery is very difficult for them. So they can have one tractor and maybe there's 20 families. Because the farms are small. And, each farmer owns a small patch of land, and then they farm it together.
Well, and also, how since we're here for a going to a climate conference, how has the climate or the weather affected your ability to grow food?
Well, in my area, we hadn't really seen any change in weather until this past summer. We had 60 inches of rain in June, July, and August, which we don't normally get 60 inches of rain the whole year. I mean, it just, in the low ground, it pretty much just destroyed everything. We had 40 bushel corn where we should have had 180 in the bottoms. It very well could be attributed to climate change. I don't know. That's what I've seen.
Is there strip mining in Canada?
We had a lot of heat too, which turned out to be a good thing. When you have that much water, the heat helps dry it up. And that may be attributed to climate change too.
Anything else you want to say about any reflections on Mexico or?
Well, I was Germany for 2 weeks in this past January on dairy issues. Their farmers are probably worse off than the U.S. farmers as far as milk production. They actually do have a little bit of a surplus in Germany that needs to be exported. Kind of the same corporations there, and they're being farmers, and their government's not helping them there neither. They were being told there that they better produce milk for $10 a hundred, which 100 pounds is 12 gallons, or the U.S. farmers will do it for them. That we could produce milk for $10 in the U.S. and make money. Well, we were there to tell them we can't produce milk in the United States for $10 a hundred, and we won't make money. We'll all be out of business. So that was a very interesting trip. Quite small farms there compared to the U.S. I mean, 300 cows was big there. In the U.S., thousands and thousands in one barn sometimes.
And maybe one last question: how do you think about what do you think about the relation between hunger and poverty and the sort of corporate control of agriculture, and the ability of farmers to be able to produce the food that people need, and the ability of communities to control their food, or to have be able to democratically decide how food gets produced and distributed?
Well, farmers in the U.S. and worldwide are more than capable of producing enough food for the country. In the U.S., we're being told if we do use their modified seeds and more fertilizer because we have to feed the world. Well, and then the corporations steal it from us, and then they won't sell it to poor countries because they don't have any money anyway, unfortunately. So farmers in the world are more than capable of feeding the people in the world. In Cancun here, they ought to let the farmers and workers tell them how to fix the mess that the corporations have made, because they don't want to fix the mess, they want to make money, and it's all going to be about money.
It's fantastic.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.